Hey guys, welcome back to another episode here at Noe's Daily Driven. Thank you for joining us once again. We've had a very busy week. A lot of things going on. Nothing different today. We're back with another episode. We are currently updating the smaller trailer that we have for racing, which is pretty much our main one, I guess you could say. So today we jump into a little bit of uncharted territory for me at least. So let's jump into it and we'll talk about it. All right, guys, welcome back. Like I said, very busy week. We have another trailer episode here. Another trailer content has been strong here recently, but I really feel that once we get past all these little updates, it's all about racing and moving forward, and at least we know that our rigs are ready to go. So let's jump into and see what we got. All right, our last episode, we were messing with our box, and obviously there's only really one place that we can put this, and it's currently right here underneath our AC unit where the generator used to be at. We used to have a generator right here, and it was a really good setup, but unfortunately the generator wasn't big enough, so we took it out. We're using it for other purposes outside, at the house and the land, whatever. But we have mounted our toolbox here, our box really. We put some rubber mounts or some rubber pads underneath it. And then we went ahead, we got our air compressor in there. It's kind of how it's going to go. Really wanted to put the tank underneath and mount it outside, but unfortunately I just think that it's gonna be hanging too low. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna mount it inside along with the compressor. It's kind of a tight fit, but we're kind of at a stopping point with that because we're waiting for a couple of pieces to come in. We ordered some of them as hardware that we want to use to mount the compressor, secure it to the box. Also, a couple of pieces of rubber to try to help keep it on the vibration, and we're going to do a little bit of sound deadening material inside of the box to keep it nice and quiet and not so much rattling noise. So we're at a standstill when it comes to the compressor, but we're pretty much there. On today's episode, we're trying to tackle something pretty big for us, at least not something that I usually do. I know a little bit about this stuff, but we're going to work on shore power for the trailer. Look inside here. All right, so kind of our setup right here, right there. Here's the other compressor that we've been running. Like I said, we usually just tote that around, and as you can see, we have to carry a lot of things, so that's why we're focusing on just trying to have everything permanently mounted. Ultimately, the goal is just to be able to latch up and go. So we're getting pretty close to that. Right now, what we want to work on is in the shore power. Currently, where the power comes in is right here. The way it was wired previously from the previous owner, it did not have a breaker box, right? I think I mentioned this before. So everything comes in, ties into a junction box, which is the electrical outlets, and then you hook up from there. There's nothing wrong with that because obviously the generator itself has the breaker. So if something goes wrong, it'll flip and throw the breaker on the generator. Well, what I really want to do is have it a little bit better organized. Nothing wrong with the way it is now, but I want to know, at least have everything on its own breaker, and if something trips, at least I know that it's that problem and it doesn't kill like the whole trailer. Another thing is too, we want to clean up a lot of the power on how it runs and how the trailer runs, which we'll get a little bit further into that in the future. So yes, that means we have a little bit more content, but we're almost there. So for right now, I want to pull this box out. We're going to look at how we got it set up and then what we got planned. Real quick, we did go ahead and turn on the AC. So like I said, the AC is set up separately from, it's not hooked up to the box down here. Let's take a look at this first, and then we'll show you the current configuration on how we're running the AC and how we're getting shore power inside the trailer. All right, guys, so without me clearing anything up, I literally just slid the toolbox out, exposing how the power is over here coming in. As you can see, here's a toolbox right here that was underneath there. And that's what I'm talking about. So this box as well can roll out, and then even if we leave this toolbox here, this whole space is available for us to use. Now, ideally, the plan is not to have to bring so many things, right? I mean, obviously, you can only do so much, but if we can have the air compressor already mounted, everything wired up, we don't need to bring extra cables, any of that stuff. It'll be a whole lot easier to be able to use for multi-purposes. Let's get to the good stuff here. So as you can see, this is the junction box, which is outlets. So it's running power to the sub. It's got this air freshener hooked up, and then we got an extension cord, like a multi-splitter that goes in here for these speakers that are powered, which runs our sound system. And then it goes from the junction box, which is outlets, goes to this switch, which then controls those lights that we have on the side. Now, as you can also see, we got this splitter that's coming out of the box, and it's wired up for these outlets here. As you can see, not necessarily ideal. I mean, it's okay, don't get me wrong. Some of the stuff we butchered together after we had to rebuild the inside of it from the storm damage, so it's no fault to anybody else but myself. But this is what we're here for, is to clean it up. Now let's take a look outside, and then we'll look at what we're going to do to help mitigate the situation. So like I said, we had the box mounted here. We went ahead and mounted, repositioned this reel. We kind of had to move it over a little bit, so we drilled some new holes in the bracket that we created, or that we welded in place. Burley's got enough space there, as you can see. And now we've added the cable to it. So we do some of the parts we're waiting for is mounting hardware, and we're going to get some new plugs to wire in. So that way it would work was this big cord will go into the 30 amp, run it out. This one will run out with it. One goes to the AC, which is plugged in over there, and then one will go in here, and then just straight to the generator. So the plan now is to just run one cable into this for shore power and split it up inside, so we can have a breaker for the AC unit, and a breaker for the air compressor, and a breaker for all the interior lights and anything else that we have wired up inside. And a big deal is we're just trying to tidy up everything and organize it a little bit better. So like I said, if it does trip a breaker, we know exactly what the problem is, and we don't lose all power at one time to everything. So generally when that happens is when we're charging a battery, right, and then something goes out, everything goes out. So I have to go back outside, reset everything. So at least we know that we can isolate the problem to one spot and we still have power. That is the plan. So Amazon is a great place. I know that not everything is always the best, but we're going to go ahead and try something from there. We ordered something that came in, we put it together, and then we're going to try to apply it in this situation and see how it works. Guys, this is where we're at. Amazon special. Order this box. Now, I'll be honest with you, I have this box right here, but in order for me to get the breakers and everything cleaned up, it's going to be a lot of money. It's going to be over $100 something. And even if, let's say, if we start over with that setup, we would have to, it was going to be over about $300 setup. So go to Amazon, we find this, we ordered the box by itself, and then we ordered the breakers that we needed. Let's see if I can get this opened up here. As you can see, got a couple of 15 amp breakers. And if we need to go higher, it's not expensive. So we might need to do some 20, some 30, I'm not sure. We'll find out. So this is kind of where we're at. As you can see, let me see if I can open this up. It's a pretty clean setup. There you go. So it comes with everything you need. So we'll wire this box up. We'll bring shore power in, and then we'll be able to split it up per breaker. Guys, like I said, this is out of our element. I do work with industrial electricity as a mechanic in the past, but it's basic stuff. Me coming into starting to wire things up, obviously we use our friend here, YouTube, to try to get things done. At the most, the breakers might be small, which is great. We'll just order what we need. The breakers are very cheap. and we just go from there. I think it's a little bit better organized like that. We can have individual breakers, and I feel a little bit safer knowing that at least those breakers are in there and if something trips, it trips it out, and we don't have anything. Plus, just the way how everything is spaghetti wired in there right now, which is my fault, nobody else's, because we had to redo the interior a little bit. We were just trying to clean it up, and we'll go from there. So let's see what we got. I'm gonna put this camera down. I'm gonna try to do some wiring. I'm gonna try to figure it out myself. If not, I might have to reach out for some support. I do apologize for the next couple of clips. It's gonna be a little bit on the darker side. We do have shore power disconnected coming into the trailer. So we're using our 18 volt little light here to kind of provide some light. Got the door kind of propped open, but because we still want to keep the AC in here. You know, big boy problems. We want to make sure we don't sweat it all out. So let's jump into it. See what we got. All right, so got this all apart. Again, sorry for how dark it is. Got the lights off. So to my understanding, what it looks like, one of the legs comes up into the switch, goes from the switch, which is pretty much on and off, goes back to these connectors junction. So then it comes into this. That leg comes into neutral, comes in. They all get split up in different ways. One for this plugs, one for these plugs. One of them goes to this cable, which goes to this spaghetti stuff here, and then yeah, it's basically it. And then another one goes up through the wall up to that for that right there. So we're gonna push forward. We're gonna disassemble everything and verify that that's where everything's going. We'll go grab the meter, ohm it out, check for continuity, make sure everything's traced out the right way that I think it's going, and we'll go from there. All right, guys, got my Omen glasses on here, just make sure I don't mess something up. But we're at a point of no return. Down to nothing. Yeah. So we were correct. As we can see here, bam, that wire is going up the wall, and then the rest of these other wires coming in is from outside, from the plug. So simple enough. Now the plan is, we got everything up here. This is everything we took out. Excuse the fan here. So we're going to reuse this. I don't think we're going to reuse the plug, but we are going to reuse this. So one of the breakers will be for this plug, and like I said, one of them for the compressor, one for the air condition, and maybe, I don't know yet, because these cables coming from these right here, that one's short, but this one here is pretty long, which is that one over there. So got a pretty good idea what needs to happen. So we're gonna go pre-wire our breaker box, and then we're gonna jump right into it. We're gonna probably drill some holes for everything come in and out, and I think we got it. So we got a mess here from drilling and everything. So pretty much we'll have power coming in out here from the outside plug. We'll go to neutral, one for ground, split up from there. And then we have our daisy chain here, so one of them come here, so that one be that one leg. And then they will pretty much be wired in here, and then come out through here, and then we have one here. So it's 5 outputs for 5 breakers. So we'll see how that works out. Hopefully it does. We got a plan. Now let's go over there and try to install it. All right, guys, it's been a couple of days. We pretty much put our head down and just started going at it. Between the electrical box and then trying to finish up the compressor box, I really didn't do much videoing, going from work and then back home, and then, you know, kids, everything, and then we have that other trailer that we come across. So yeah, it's been real, it's been fun. But I think, if you don't know, we have established shore power back up here. And that being said, is we're done. So I'm gonna turn around, show you real quick the box. I don't have it in part, it's all together, but I can at least show you what we're trying to accomplish and what we did accomplish. I'm not saying that it's a whole lot cleaner, but it is now organized and everything has a proper box, a junction box. We utilized the old switch that we had there for the rocker switch. So now I just gotta find the blank plate for that. And we did connect back this box. So now everything has a breaker. So it's a pretty clean little setup. Obviously when you're used to seeing metal boxes and stuff, it's kind of weird, but in all reality, the trailer that Silky that we had, that was Silky's, had a metal box, but it had these same type of breakers. So yeah, so if you can see, this right here is going to kill our power, because this is hooked up. Well, actually this first breaker is hooked up to the speakers, so we'll hit that and you can see the speakers went out, the light went out here. Turn it back on, got power back on. The second one is running these two plugs. This plug is hooked up to this light as of right now. So if you hit this one, get start. So that works. The center breaker is an extra one. This one is running to our air compressor, and this one now is running to our AC unit that's been blowing pretty hard. So I've turned it down quite a bit to try to get the compressor to kick on, and then I fired on the air compressor as well, and everything is working as intended. Now obviously there's still got a little bit of wire. There's a kind of a hot mess of a wire going on here for the stereo system and the sub. The sub sits right here, and then the toolbox slides in this area. So the only concern now is make sure that the toolbox clears this box. If not, we might have to move it over a little bit, but I think we should be fine. All right, so currently right now it's about 7 something, so it's really dark outside. But we'll go outside, I'll grab this flashlight that I got, and then we'll take a look at the air compressor and kind of what we did, where we're at, and then we'll try to wrap up this video on this part of the upgrade. So let's go check it out. All right, so this is the current configuration of the compressor. We got it insulated, and then got the compressor in here, and the tank in here. So I already ran it. It sounds pretty good. We ended up running the wire out of the box inside into the breaker. The only thing we're lacking is now the fitting from this right here, that empty one, and then we're going to put a spigot per se, I guess, a connection right here to put an air hose for now. So we can fire this thing up real quick. That inside. But yeah, everything has worked out perfectly how I wanted. So with the compressor on and the AC running, everything works fine, doesn't trip out. So now obviously we'll see how it does with the generator. It should be fine off that 30 amp breaker. We did end up changing breakers. The compressor and the AC breakers, we went from a 15 to a 25, and then we left all the other ones at 15s instead of 10. So we went ahead and went up on breaker. I didn't want to do 30 because if I did 30, then what's the point of having a breaker box if that's what the breaker is over there at the generator. So it's kind of where we're at for now on this, but it doesn't stop there. In the background as well, the deal is the wire that we had over here at the junction box that went up to our LED. That wire right there is no longer hooked up. It's still there, but we didn't hook it up. What I had planned for is now I also want to introduce 12 volt lights inside of here. Well, why is that? Well, Well, because let's say you're sometimes we're at these events about 8 hours, 10 hours. So the generator is just running all day long. Before I run the generator in here, I let it cool off outside. So what we're gonna do is run a power bank in here of 12 volts to run some of the interior lights. So like that, when we disconnect shore power, obviously this light will go off, but then we still have 12 volt LED lighting in here. So like that, we can still get things done, put up while the generator is cooling off. Now we also want to add exterior lighting, but that will come at a later date. But for now, I didn't know what I wanted to do for a power bank, but I saw something pretty cool on YouTube, and I think it was pretty good. Utilize some of the things that I have, and ultimately this is a budget build, so don't have a lot of money invested in this deal. So we're able to, I think with the breaker box and this power bank that I'm about to show you, I got about $150 altogether. So let me show you what we got planned, what we put together in the background, and kind of give you an idea of where we're heading next. All right, guys, so this is kind of what we got planned. We want to run this power bank off of those two 18-volt batteries. I have a ton of these batteries, and I have a lot of accessibility for more. So what I wanted to do is pretty much convert this from 18 volts to 12 volts. Let's take a look inside here. Pretty nice and compact. Pretty much what we got is power coming in, 18 volts, comes to a step down to 12 volts, and then it gets distributed out by these rocker switches. So let me put a couple of batteries in and I'll show you. All right, so currently I got these two batteries. They're in parallel. And then what this does is pretty much a protector. Once it hits about 16 volts flat, so the batteries are pretty dead right now, it will not throw out any more power. So it's pretty much to help protect these batteries. So then we got rocker switches here. So we'll have 3 of them. And if we want to add more, as you can tell here, we have more ability to split off of this bank, and we can put more rocker switches and then distribute out the power out that way. So ideally, what we want to do is we'll probably mount it over here somewhere. You can easily put the batteries in it, and then you run up, and then we'll run 12 volt LED wires, and that should help us out. Just try to get it accomplished, and then we'll run some exterior lighting just to be able to help us all out. But that's it. I mean, let me know what y'all think. I think this power bank is gonna be pretty cool. It seems to have worked pretty well for others, so we're gonna give it a try. So I know that I missed a couple of things, maybe a little bit more detailed than what I usually am, but I'm not as detailed as I usually am. But the deal is we're trying to wrap this up by the weekend. We were possibly gonna go racing. My good buddy out there at the 517 Raceway has invited me, old Babbitt invited me to go out there and possibly drive a different car and go show some love. So we're trying to get the trailer set up, ready to go for next weekend. Just gotta wrap up a couple little small things. Obviously there's a mess in here, so I'm gonna clean everything up. Trying to get the trailer refitted back to the way it was and operational. And then I don't know if we're gonna take any of our cars because we're gonna drive somebody else's. So as of right now, that's the plan. So I'm really looking forward to it. I appreciate Mike reaching out to me, see if I was interested in coming out and driving one of his cars. So that's it for this video. I know it's been a lot of content for the trailer stuff, but it's all coming together. It's all going to come to an end pretty soon, at least for this trailer. But yeah, I really appreciate everybody, the support. Let me know what y'all think about the progress that we've made so far. Any ideas, maybe something that y'all done, anybody else doing. But it's kind of where we're at, man. I really appreciate y'all joining with me. And if y'all stuck this long, thank you so much. But we do have more content coming up, more trailer content, and then we got some racing coming up. I'm very excited about that. So thank y'all for watching. I will catch you on the next one. Thank you all for the support and love. Peace. We're out of here.